I'm here with Antti of Kalmah to talk about their self-titled new record, Kalmah, out right now, everywhere that you can stream and purchase, buy it, pick it up, do whatever you got to do to pick up this new Kalmah record. First of all, thank you very much for taking the time to join me on the channel to talk about the album. How's everything with you now that the album is finally out? You get to rest now?
Well, it's uh, there's some kind of hustle going on, but not much. We are still doing about whatever we like and just enjoying. So no big hustle.
When it comes to releasing a new record and going with a self-titled album, was there a specific meaning behind it that you guys wanted this to be your Kalmah record?
Well, we tried to figure out some kind of name for the album, and we didn't come up with anything good. So we ended up with Kalmah. And of course, if you look at the cover of the album, you can get a feeling that maybe this is the last album. So we had that kind of thoughts in the way that maybe this is the last album we do, but I don't think so anymore.
It changed the making of the album and releasing the album has changed your mind about this being the last record. Why were you guys thinking of this being the last album?
Well, we are getting so old, so so we have better things to do.
I know, but fans and love your music. The demand is still there. The albums that you guys have released in the past have all been great. It's not like there's a dip in quality. It's not like you guys are becoming too old to play. So I hope this album gives you the energy that you need to think about the future and more Kalmah records.
Yeah, I have already some ideas going on in my head, and I've been already testing those with my guitar. So we will see.
So when you sit down and you start working on those ideas, when you start working on what eventually becomes a new Kalmah record, do you feel like there are certain restrictions put on you by what the band has done in the past and also the expectations that the fans have on what the band will do in the future?
No, it's all about the inspiration. Now, for example, now I have when I go to sleep, I have this thing popping to my head, and I've been developing the song in my head before I go to sleep. So at the end, if it's good enough for me, then I represent to the band members, and if they like it, then it's good enough. So that's the only restriction there.
So it's really about making sure you guys are happy.
Yeah, it can be anything. It can be punk music or whatever, but if it sounds good, then and we are happy, so the rest is just a bonus.
When you look at Paulo and you look at Kalmah, what do you see as perhaps the main differences between those two records?
I haven't listened to Paulo for 3 years, I guess. But if I try to remember the songs, I think all in all, it's the pretty much the same Kalmah stamp is there. We cannot avoid that. We are what we are, but I think for the new album, when it comes to songwriting, I think there's a new kind of licks here and there, and different kind of song structures, and I think there's some kind of new Kalmah vibe present after all.
The only thing listening to this, I thought you guys created perhaps one of the best Kalmah albums to date when you look at the quality of each individual song that this album offers. The only thing that I wasn't a huge fan of was the design, like the song, the track listing, if you will.
Yeah.
What was the thought process for you and for the guys going through this track listing, and why did you feel like this was the right one for the album?
Well, usually I must say that it's pretty easy to pick up the right order for the songs, and this time I was struggling with this which song is how it goes, and I tried to ask the guys as well, but as usual the guys said that you can decide. We don't care. We don't care. So, but the idea is usually is that the first song has to punch in the face, and then maybe a couple of songs, 2 or 3 songs, continue that punching in the face, and then I usually to select some kind of slower songs, and for this album it was no words sad enough, and after that then it's time to punch the face again, and then if there's some kind of songs between, then it's the time for those songs, and the end of the album, well, I feel that it's either end it with the slower song or with fast song. So this time it's ended up with the drifting. So there's no big drama, but that's how it is.
No,
Yeah.
it comes down to personal opinion, right? Like everybody has their own taste and their own view, and to me, I honestly I really like Drifting in a Dream a lot, and I thought that song, because of that slower opening, would be such a great intro track to start off the album with. And there's some elements in that song that then would come down the road later on. It would connect really well. But at the end of the day, there's no right or wrong. It's just personal preference in terms of what the listener will like to.
Yeah.
So I think that's how I look at it. Now, when it comes to creating a Kalmah album, what is for you, from your point of view, what is the most challenging part of putting the whole record together? That it doesn't matter if it's the first album or the 10th album, you always struggle with that specific part of bringing a record to life.
Well, it's nowadays it's scheduling the recordings, because we have day jobs and everything else going on, and families and things like that. So, for example, this time we just had to decide that we will start the recording next fall and try to find the time for the recording, and so that's the biggest deal, I guess. Find the time for the studio.
Do you enjoy the studio time, or you enjoy more creating the music and going through all the ideas and trying to put it all together?
Well, it's I like both, but of course the creation part is more fun. But in the studio, it's usually well, not usually, but always when we enter to the studio, it's we have everything ready, so it's all about finding the sound and recording. So it's basically just work in the studio.
I said it earlier that this album has 10 great individual songs. All of them could have been singles. What inspired you when it came to creating an album that is so strong from song to song across every single song? There's no filler on this record.
Yeah, it has always been our goal to create an album that there's no filler songs, and I do think we finally did it, but well, 1 or 2 years in the future, I may think differently, but right now it feels like it.
You'll think that way about the new record.
Yeah, but it's I think this time we had usually I have written most of the songs, and we have had one song from Pekka and one song from keyboard player. But this time we have 2 songs from Pekka and 1 song from keyboard player Velli and 1 song from the bass player. So it has more diversity in that way as well. So I'm maybe that's the key for not having filler songs, but I don't know.
And plus, that way you don't have all the pressure on your shoulders. You're spreading it around a little bit.
Yeah, that's true.
You talked earlier about the DNA of the band, like the Kalmah sound. Like you said, it is what it is. We can't get away from it. That's our sound. Is part of the Kalmah sound having the guitars so much in the forefront, really pushing the songs forward, either be with melody or with heaviness? Is that what the Kalmah sound is to you?
Yeah, we have always think that we are guitar band, and guitars has to be the main instrument in our band, and it depends on the mixing and things like that. So maybe we are not so guitar driven in some of our albums, but at the end it's all about the guitars, and when the guitars are good, and then it's for the rest. And this time I'm really happy we got like usual we used the good old amplifiers and things. No, we didn't touch any digital shit. And I don't like the metal of the day, or is it even metal today? I try to listen to Spotify, all new metal, and listen. It's all about this digital turbo-driven stuff, and I don't like it at all. So we have, and this time we got. You can actually hear the cymbals from the drummer, so that's a good thing as well.
Yeah, it has a really almost live sound to it, which then gives more emphasis to how the guitars are so strong in the mix and how they come forward. But having said that, I also thought that the keyboards on this album sounded perhaps better than any other record you guys released before. Did you guys change anything from a keyboard standpoint?
Well, yeah, we changed. There's not so many keyboards, so many keyboard tracks. Belly had with the previous albums he had so many tracks keyboards, so it kind of softened the whole thing. And this time we said to him that not so many tracks. so so I guess that's the reason, because when you have the keyboards there, you can truly hear the keyboards, not the 20 tracks of keyboards, but the 1 or 2 tracks of keyboards. So it's what is the English word? It's
it's one of those that less is more in this case, a little bit more condensed.
Yeah. It's more not sharp, but anyway, yeah.
I'm going to ask you a very tough question. Do you have a favorite Kalmah riff when you're sitting at home thinking about the days that passed, perhaps looking towards the future, pick up your guitar? Is there a Kalmah riff that allows you to reflect?
Allows me to reflect.
It gives you the motivation to think.
I don't know. Usually when I pick my guitar, I don't play the old ones. I don't want to remember, unless we have the trains for some show. But when I pick guitar, I always try to create something new, and that's my. I don't play much nowadays. I only play if I have some kind of idea. So
that's really interesting. So you pick up the guitar, you're always thinking of something new, not necessarily of the old.
Yeah, that's I should play more and should exercise more, but I don't exercise basically at all nowadays. So the guitar is right there, but it can be there 2 months that I don't touch it. So it's a
It's super interesting. I have a couple more questions for you. One of them is that when you started the band so long ago, 9 albums you guys have released. Did you
yeah.
ever imagine that you guys would be around for this long? You would release 9 albums. You guys would tour all over the world, have fans all over the world.
No, absolutely not. It was so hard back then to get the recording deal anyway. So and we haven't done this. This is not our main thing. It's the main job. We are not musicians in that way. So it has been it has been a good ride, of course, and hopefully there's more to come.
I think there will be. Last question for you. Everybody always talks about the Finnish melodic death metal sound, and whenever I'm talking to people about Finnish melodic death metal sound, I, to me, there's 3 bands that you have to talk about because they have unique sound within the overall Finnish melodic death metal sound, and that is Children of Bodom, Insomnium, and Kalmah. 3 bands that all come from the same country. They all have the same backdrop in terms of what the genre is, but they all have their own uniquenesses to it. If you were to explain what it means to you for Finnish melodic death metal, how would you explain that? What is Finnish melodic death metal to you?
Well, I think when it comes to the Finnish melodic death metal, I think it's all about the old Finnish pop music and the people, the kind of traditional Finnish music. When what we hear from the radio, what we used to hear from the radio back in the 80s, 70s, 90s, normal music that normal people here listen to. It's melancholic in a way, melancholic melodies and stuff like that. I have once said that probably one of, for example, Kalmah songs, if you rip out the guitars, thrash or the metal guitars and put acoustic guitars in replace and smoothen the drum riffs and then pick up a Finnish clean singer, it could be easily go to Finnish radio. So the melodies are, I think the melodies come from there and the melancholy we have in the melodies. But that's only my opinion.
Hey, it's an important one. I think you guys, you're one of those bands that definitely has a huge role in what the current DNA of Finnish melodic death metal sound is, and a lot of bands look up to you guys because you've stayed true to that sound from the beginning to now. And that Kalmah sound, I mean, I don't care where you are in the world, you press play on a song, within 5 seconds, you know you're listening to Kalmah. That nobody else sounds like that, nobody else feels like that. Very distinct playability, very distinct sound, very distinct characteristics. And in a country that has so many melodic death metal bands that has that melodic death metal sound, to be able to create your own identity within the overall identity, I think it's outstanding. I think it's outstanding, and you guys deserve all the praise for it.
Thank you very much. I have a good story. I was in a locker room. I was going to gym, and there was young guys, probably 25 years younger than me, and they were listening to Kalmah. And I went to the locker room and I changed my gear, but they didn't notice at all who I was. I was thinking, oh, but my fingers were up because they had found good music.
You should have said something like, good taste or
Yeah,
nice
yeah,
record or something.
yeah. afterwards, I was thinking about that I should have said, but I was kind of amused with the situation. So
It must have felt good.
yeah, of course, yeah.
Yeah. Well, Antti, thank you very much for your time, man. I really appreciate it. I know you're not feeling well today, so go get some rest. Maybe do some sauna. So that's always good.
Yeah,
That's always good
true.
for you. So once
Yeah.
again, thank you very much for your time. Thank you for the record. Thank you for putting up with my craziness and my comments about the album design and structure.
No problem, no problem.
And being cool about it. And I'm happy to hear that this is not going to be the last record because I love you guys. I want to see all of you back in North America as soon as possible. I'm a huge fan. So thank you very much for taking the time.
Thank you.